We have an exclusive interview today in the bullpen. You don't want to miss it. First, there's a story that will make your blood boil. Miss Caprice Byrd is a mother and a registered psychotherapist. She's demanding justice after the murder of her daughter. Here it is.
Black woman murdered at a notorious homeless housing complex. Caprice Bird learned of her child's death. The streets outside Denver's Renaissance downtown Lofts were lit up with flashing police lights. She had rushed there, desperate for answers, only to hear the unthinkable. Her firstborn, Quincy Bird, had been dead for 2 days. According to court documents, Denver health paramedics discovered Quincy laying in an unusual position in the corner of a bedroom with clothing on top of her and apparent bloodstains on her hands, face, clothing. A witness later told police that the suspect, 34-year-old Jasmine Taylor, grabbed a pole and struck the victim several times on the head. When the witness saw Taylor smothering Quincy with a blanket, he was told to look away. Minutes later, Taylor allegedly informed him that Quincy was dead. NBC9 News with the details. As Caprice gathered her child's belongings from the apartment, she saw the remnants of this. I had to clean, seeing Quincy's blood. Coroner told me it was a little bit of blood. It was not a little bit of blood, Caprice said. Court records describe what happened next. Taylor allegedly rifled through Quincy's pockets, took a $20 bill, instructed the witness to buy more methamphetamine. They continued using drugs with Quincy's body still in the apartment. It wasn't until September 9th, 2024, 2 days after the killing, that the witness made an anonymous 911 call. Taylor had an active warrant at the time of Quincy's death. Documents obtained by 9 News investigates revealed that Taylor, deemed high risk by the Department of Corrections, had not been monitored for 9 months. 9 News investigates also uncovered Taylor's extensive violent criminal history dating back to 2018. Incarcerated twice on charges of felony menacing, second-degree assault on a peace officer. Parole officers, according to logs, were prioritizing apprehension leads in accordance with caseload size and public safety concerns. Yet Taylor's whereabouts were no mystery. Police had surveillance footage, showed her entering Quincy's apartment building multiple times. A witness even said Taylor had been staying with Quincy at the time. While going through Quincy's apartment, Caprice discovered a FedEx package. I was really upset to come across this, he said, holding up a piece of mail. Jasmine Taylor, dated July 2024. The package was addressed to Taylor at the Renaissance downtown Lofts, same complex operated by the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, where Quincy had lived for the past 4 years. Despite this, the coalition stated, Taylor was never a resident there and denied knowledge of any mail she received at the complex. Nobody is even monitoring this violent person, Caprice said. DOC failed there. Colorado Coalition for the Homeless failed. They allowed this person in the building. The whole system failed. The whole system failed. And now my Quincy is dead.
Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. Why is that so important? Because they have the same legal and oversight responsibility as an owner of an apartment complex, 7-Eleven, your local mall. It's called premises liability. When action isn't taken to simply create safety nets for the well-being of others. So the mother holds them accountable as well. We have a recap of the issues with that coalition. Here it is.
Insiders are sounding the alarm about a Denver-based nonprofit they say is not living up to its mission. Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, or CCH, is one of the largest providers of housing for the unhoused in the state. Organization houses more than 2,000 people each night. More than 20 locations. Latest fiscal report confirms CCH brought in nearly 127 million in revenue in 2022. But former employees want city and state leaders to understand the untold story about the nonprofit, including safety, ethics, and quality of care concerns. Janie Sasson, former employee of the coalition, said the money that's getting funneled into the coalition isn't helping the clients. Sasson told Denver 7 Investigates that her decision to quit was due to the complicity she felt after 4 months working at the organization. There were days when my coworkers would be crying. I would cry driving to work. I'd cry driving home. Keeps us up at night, Sasson said. The clients are still living in filth. They're living in buildings that should probably be condemned. Alex Pacheco agrees. She's another former employee who worked at the coalition for 9 months. She quit for similar reasons. I don't know how you can go to sleep at night putting people in units that are infested with bed bugs, roaches, mice, and still feel like you're doing a good thing at the end of the day. Because from your perspective, it's better than being on the street, she said. Leslie Murray, a disabled man, no legs, made his decision to live inside an apartment provided by CC8. I don't understand why they put me on the second floor. They know I don't have any legs, and they put me in this building, he said. I know they don't care about me, and no, I don't feel safe here. Murray's concerns intensified after learning he was placed on the second floor of a building where the elevator was regularly out of service. For me, it's a death sentence. They have a fire, Murray said. Both Sasson and Pacheco confirmed instances of what they called unethical living standards when it came to Murray's placement. There was one occasion where a case manager had to carry this man's wheelchair while he used what was left of his legs to hobble down the stairs, Pacheco said. It sucks having to crawl, Murray said when describing the incident. Humiliated. You don't feel like human. Sasson and Pacheco also brought concerns surrounding employee safety and staffing to light. There are actual reports of employees being attacked and harmed, and there's no policy change. There's no procedural change, Sasson said. Denver 7 Investigates compiled a 14-minute video of concerns from former staff and clients to CCH CEO Britta Fisher. Both Sasson and Pacheco said CEO was already made aware of those issues. Denver 7 asked the CEO what she thought about the issues raised. Very distressed that client doesn't feel cared for, Fisher said. It concerns me. I'm the CEO of an organization that honors the inherent dignity of each person. And to hear that people felt that hadn't happened or isn't happening, it's hard. That hurts my heart. Fisher also pledged to share the concerns brought to light by Denver 7 Investigates with her senior leadership and address Murray's housing situation. Since their interview, Denver 7 Investigates claims CCH has addressed safety concerns raised in their report, adding additional safety staffing and new reporting system for incidents.
Indisputable did reach out to the Colorado Coalition Against the Homeless last month. I said against intentionally. They informed us they would forward our request to the appropriate person. Nobody has contacted us since. I'm sure somebody will contact us after this show. We have the mother on the program, Ms. Byrd. I'm so sorry that we are meeting under this circumstance. Thank you for being brave, and thank you for bringing this to our attention. And please tell the audience what happened to your baby.
She was brutally murdered, beat about the head by someone who should have never been there. And I say Jasmine Taylor should have never been there because she violated her parole obligations, the criteria of her parole. She was released on December 7th. By December 18th, she had violated. They had no contact with her other than her to forward that address, and they did nothing. They didn't pick her up. Colorado Coalition for the Homeless is grossly negligent because their name is Colorado Coalition Against the Homeless. I like what you said. But Quincy paid rent there. Quincy was a paying tenant and had been. So their claim is to help with mental health, to help with substance use. And I sent that report that was done 5 months before my daughter was murdered there, because not only from Britta Fisher, I've not received an apology from anyone, yet everyone is claiming not their responsibility.
Wow. Let's get into some of the details, if you don't mind. We want to be helpful if we can. Can you give us the scenario that this happened in? Like, was there some back and forth prior? Was there a complaint log? Is there some level of oversight for criminality?
When you say, was there some back and forth between me and the Colorado Coalition, or between Quincy? Quincy is a kind, loving person. I mean, she's a product of me. We're not perfect by any means, but for someone to murder her in that way, in her own home, where she should have been safe with case managers and nurses and team leaders and all of what was the staff doing? This person who had an active warrant was in and out of this building, terrorizing other residents for months.
So there's
and
a
they
record.
knew she was there.
There's
Yes,
a track record.
Yes, and they have yet to release that to me. I've asked for that, and their response to me was, that list is arduous, and I don't want to disclose other people's privacy. And I responded, I'm not asking you to disclose anyone else's privacy. I want to see where Quincy signed this person in as a guest, and they have not supplied that to me, because she wasn't Quincy's guest. She was a guest of the person upstairs and wiggled her way into Quincy's place, and 2 days later murdered her.
How were they funded, the coalition?
My understanding is it's both nonprofit and donation. There are probably some government things due to the mental health and substance use criteria that they say that they help with. So my understanding is a combination of both.
Okay. And have you attempted an open records request? What have they said in response?
Nothing. They're not talking to me at all now.
They ignored it.
Yes.
Okay, now that's illegal.
Well, they did send me things, but the things that they have sent, like they sent Quincy's medical records based on a recent release of information that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And in those medical records, I have reason to believe that Quincy may have complained about this person harassing her and stealing from her and doing things to her. In the months prior to Quincy's murder, Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, case managers, a therapist, someone else had called me to say, we're really concerned about Quincy. Quincy's not engaging in the program. Quincy, and they know that I am an active participant, parent. I go down there every other day knocking on Quincy's door. They refuse to open the door. They refuse to do a welfare check. And I will say, Dr. Richey, the report that your colleague is reading saying that the witness called, I just want to make it perfectly clear. That witness is not a witness. That witness is an accomplice. That witness did not call 911. The staff did not call 911. In fact, the staff didn't even go looking for Quincy. It was her friends, not that person.
Unpack that for us, if you would, Ms. Byrd, that the individual is an accomplice, not really a witness, but they did call, they did not call.
They did not.
Okay, give us some insight into that.
That person is also a resident. He lived on the 4th floor.
Okay.
My belief is, because now, of course, the detective has forgotten if they showed up together or separately, but my belief is they showed up together and entered Quincy's apartment, and that's when the assault happened. And he did say to the detective, once she was beating Quincy about the head and face with this pole, she instructed him to turn away, which he did. Now, I'm going to paint the picture. Her apartment is extremely small. Front door, kitchen, bathroom off the side, bedroom off the side. That's it. Tiny. Full grown man. Somebody's beating somebody with the pole. Why are you not leaving? Why did Quincy not leave? Were you preventing her from leaving? And I've been told, stop bringing these issues up, Miss Bird, because you might cause the murderer to get loose if we start focusing on this other person. But they won't tell me why they won't arrest him for not calling the police, for witnessing this crime, for not getting her any help, for not reporting after it happened. He mentioned it in passing to one of Quincy's friends, and that was it.
What has the full response been from law enforcement after this was revealed?
Law enforcement chastised me and said, we will thank you, Miss Bird, to stop reinvestigating our case. The murderer is in jail. She's going to be prosecuted. Leave everything else alone. Dr. Richey, there are witnesses. My daughter, Quincy, Jasmine, and another person was in the elevator the night the murder happened. Jasmine said, I'm gonna kill her. Quincy said, yeah, she's gonna kill me. They've not talked to this person.
Wow.
They've not talked to the Quincy's friends. They've not talked to the person in the elevator. They've not talked to the person that Jasmine lived with. Yet, here we are. The witness is walking free in the city. Nothing is gonna happen to him. They said he didn't break any rules. It's too hard to prove what his intent was. So he's gonna be free to go.
Who's the detective?
Detective Mark Kreider.
Say the name again.
Detective Mark Kreider, Krider.
Okay. And what has his response been with you?
To remind me not to reinvestigate his case, to tell me that if I continue to fuss about the witness, that I run the risk of setting the murderer free, because then everybody's gonna be focused on him, and then it'll be him blaming her and her blaming him, and so nobody will get.
That's not your role. Their role is to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt. They go to a specialized school in order to do so as prosecutors. The cop is supposed to arrest and investigate to find the truth, and you are supposed to be a diligent mother seeking justice.
They took the witness on the day that Quincy's body was discovered. My understanding is that Detective Kreider took the witness and questioned him at his apartment in the Coalition for the Homeless, and then also took him downstairs or to downtown to his office. And he said he can't for sure say that the witness's intent was to aid Jasmine in the murder, was to protect Jasmine from being caught. Although when they left Quincy's apartment, he didn't run away and go tell anyone. They went upstairs to his apartment. They left Quincy's apartment, which is directly across the hallway from the gentleman on the Channel 7 in the wheelchair, and went upstairs to his apartment. So if you're afraid that someone bashed the brains out of an individual and then smothered them, why would you take them to your home? You were not afraid. Because you left with money out of my daughter's pocket to go buy meth, and you returned and stayed there 2 days.
The detective, they know these variables as these are statements of fact. Why didn't he leverage that in order to effect an arrest?
Dr. Richey, I will tell you, the detective and the DA came to my home the week that they arrested the murderer, and they presented the witness to me as instrumental in our case and blah, blah, blah. I spoke to him and he's a demon.
I see what they're doing. So the reason why they both came to your home, this is my speculation, but it's likely true, is because they had come up with their scenario in the prosecutorial standard to eliminate a reasonable doubt argument between two individuals who were at the scene of said murder. And for them, instead of working and
Yes.
advocating as they should, they would prefer to get the easy win by making somebody who may have been an accomplice a witness instead.
Yes.
I'm sure you saw the manipulation.
Yes. Well, I didn't see it initially until I discovered that the DA is able to charge anyone for anything at any time. And she stood here in my kitchen and told me that she told me the detective couldn't find anything to charge him on. And when I told her she was a liar, now we're done talking, because I realize all she wants is to convict this person on murder. But damn me.
DA's name.
Yeah.
What's the DA's name? I just want to make sure everybody's on record.
Danielle, I want to say Robertson.
Okay.
Danielle Robertson.
Okay. All right. And
DA's name is Danielle Robertson. I know that what you speculated to be true, Dr. Richey, because it has funneled down this bias that they have painted and this thing that they've come up to. And I believe that they're all in bed together. I got a death certificate and the report of the injuries and all of the things. I would have had to take care of Quincy as a vegetable had Quincy survived this. And so, but I want to say, they said cause of death, asphyxiation. Manner of death, blunt force trauma to the head. Why is there a statement on the death certificate that says individual is in an altercation with other individuals? I said to Detective Kreider, why are the coroners saying that my baby was in an altercation? If this was a white person and two people entered the home and beat the person about the head, they would say that the person was assaulted. Why are you saying my baby was in an altercation as if she was out in the street fighting? Detective Kreider swore he didn't make that statement. It's on the report that they gave me. And I asked him to go to the coroners to correct it. The coroners will not correct it. Detective Kreider texts me back and says, I told them that I didn't say that and they won't correct it. So now I have a death certificate that says my daughter was in an altercation with individuals. Not that my daughter was assaulted. I just want them to just tell the story right. Yeah. Just tell it right. Is it because she's Black and you think because she has mental health issues or substance use issues, and this is a Black on Black crime? Is it because of that you don't want to do the work to tell the story right? There's another individual out there who witnessed this horrible thing, walking around free. And I believe if I had witnessed someone do something like that, they would hold me accountable for not telling, for not rendering help, for taking money from a corpse's body and then returning.
Ms. Bird, we're gonna work with you on this. I am my blood is boiling. Okay?
Mine is too.
All right?
I just hate this. It's everybody it's like a systemic failure all the way around. And I can't get my daughter back. But if I have to keep living here, they're going to tell the story right.
And we're going to help you do that. Ms. Bird, you are a remarkable human being and a great mother and a strong leader. And I want you to know that it's not the contextualization of your daughter. All right. I have a faith tradition. In my faith tradition, nobody dies. Death is an illusion. We simply evolve to our next state of being. What's happening is that they can't see the soul inside of themselves. And because of that, they cannot locate humanity inside of others that are in a different social class, allegedly, than they are. I did some research. I'm going to do this quickly because we're out of time in the segment. I did some research on the coalition, and I found that HUD land acquisition lawsuit was in 2017 and 2018. It literally says that they are unfit for their operation. Federal audit violations, HUD Office Inspector General findings 2014, numerous incorrectly allocated employee payroll time among supportive housing programs, charged ineligible cost to federal grants, provided ineligible benefits to employees, spent grant money benefits to employees, provided ineligible benefits, spent grant money on unauthorized housing items, continued to misspend funds despite previous warnings from HUD. List goes on and on. It's massive, ma'am. It is massive. All right. Employees, unionization efforts, they decided to get involved in that. Once again, another violation. Infrastructure and safety problems, massive. Unlivable units, even for the homeless. This is cited in the investigation. There is very little positive context here. Now, I don't understand how an organization with this much, I research for a living. It's rare you find this many complaints about an organization this big, this large, with this amount of federal funding, okay? So I'm not sure how this has happened for so long, but it is on the record today. What I'm going to do, Ms. Byrd, is make sure you have my personal information, okay? I want you to give me a call. We're going to work together. No, thank you. Thank you. All right? Because you are standing up for a whole lot of folk that have been mishandled, mistreated, and probably lost quality of life, if not life.
Yes.
Underneath this kind of management system. And so we're going to work with you. I want you to tell us, before you go, tell us some of the beautiful moments and personality traits of your daughter.
Quincy was extremely, extremely intelligent, a phenomenal artist, and the kindest person. Animals, people, which is probably why this happened to her. She never met an enemy. Quincy was very kind, giving. I remember all her life I've had to give her a coat every year. Why? Because she would always find someone who needed the coat. And now I feel some kind of way because she didn't have a coat. So I had to give her a coat every year because she would always find somebody that needed a coat. I miss her. I fashioned my life around, I became who I am to help her and people like her. I've done nothing but work with mental health and substance use for 17 years. And now I have a big hole. This murder, they say, was to one person. Quincy was a phenomenal friend, a sister, a daughter, a granddaughter, a niece. It was a mass murder. I lost my job because this is what I'm doing now because I don't want to see this happen again to someone else. She meant something to me.
And she means something to me. And she means something to the millions of people who will see this interview. And you mean something to us. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Ms. Byrd, we'll be in touch. God bless you. We're going to talk very soon, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.